Daniel Suarez didn't hold back after Las Vegas. He says a fight with Ross Chastain wouldn't last 5 seconds. These two used to be teammates. Now they can't stand each other. Ross Chastain isn't backing down either. And with Darlington next, this is about to get serious. What happened in Las Vegas did not come out of nowhere. These two have history. They were teammates at Trackhouse Racing, a team that quickly built a reputation for speed and aggression. But behind the scenes, not everything clicked. Styles clashed. Personalities didn't line up. Respect never fully settled in. And when drivers carry unresolved tension into competition, it does not stay buried for long. Late in the Las Vegas race, that tension finally surfaced. Contact on track sparked immediate frustration. It was not a massive wreck, it was not a highlight reel crash, but in NASCAR, it does not take a major incident to light a fuse. Sometimes it is a simple bump at the wrong time, from the wrong driver, with the wrong history attached. As the race ended and the field slowed, Suarez made his move. He pulled up alongside Chastain. Words were exchanged through the window nets. Body language tightened. And then, in a moment that instantly grabbed attention across the garage, the confrontation escalated on pit road. Ross Chastain made physical contact, a shove, not a full fight, but enough to cross that invisible line between racing aggression and something more personal. Crew members stepped in. The situation cooled before it could spiral further. But the damage was already done, because moments like that do not end when the cars stop. They follow drivers into interviews, into team meetings, into the next race weekend. And Daniel Suarez was not about to let it go quietly. Instead of brushing it off, he leaned into it, first through interviews, then through his own YouTube channel, and finally in a SiriusXM appearance that pushed the feud into an entirely different level of intensity. Suarez made one thing clear. He felt disrespected, not just by the contact, but by what he called Chastain's behavior. He described it as two-faced, friendly at times, aggressive and confrontational when it mattered. That kind of inconsistency in a sport built on trust between drivers at high speeds is something many competitors take personally. But the comment that really caught fire came when Suarez addressed the idea of a physical fight. He did not hesitate. He said it would not last 5 seconds. That line spread fast, not because of the threat itself, but because of what it revealed. Suarez was not speaking like someone trying to de-escalate. He was speaking like someone who had already made up his mind about the situation. At the same time, he showed restraint in a different way. He openly admitted that throwing a punch would have consequences. Sponsors, fines, reputation. In modern NASCAR, drivers are not just competitors. They are brands. And one bad decision in the heat of the moment can cost more than just points. So Suarez walked a line. He made it clear he was not afraid of a confrontation, but he also made it clear he was choosing not to take it that far. That balance is what makes this situation so interesting heading into Darlington, because on the other side, Ross Chastain is not backing down either. Chastain has built his reputation on being one of the most aggressive drivers in the field. He does not apologize for taking chances. He does not change his style to avoid conflict. And when asked about Suarez, he did not try to smooth things over. Instead, he admitted something that confirmed what many suspected. He said Suarez is someone he just does not get along with. That is not the language of a temporary disagreement. That is the language of a long-standing issue. And when two drivers openly acknowledge that level of tension, it changes how every on-track interaction is viewed. Now every move is questioned, every bump is analyzed, every restart becomes a potential flashpoint. NASCAR is fully aware of that reality. After the Las Vegas incident, officials reviewed what happened. In previous eras, physical contact on pit road could easily lead to penalties, fines, suspensions, points deductions. But in this case, NASCAR chose not to take action. That decision matters because it sends a message to the garage. It tells drivers that some level of post-race confrontation is still within acceptable limits, that emotions, even physical ones, are part of the sport's culture as long as they do not go too far. At the same time, NASCAR made it clear that every situation is judged individually. There is no fixed rule that guarantees safety from penalties. Cross the wrong line, and the response will be different. This approach creates a kind of pressure cooker environment. Drivers know they have some freedom to express frustration, but they also know that one step too far could bring serious consequences. That uncertainty often leads to even more tension, and that is exactly what makes the timing of this feud so important, because the next stop is Darlington Raceway. Darlington is not just another track, it is one of the most demanding circuits in NASCAR. Narrow racing grooves, close walls, limited room for mistakes. Drivers are forced into tight spaces where patience and precision are everything. It is also a place where grudges tend to show up. You cannot hide from another driver at Darlington. If there is unfinished business, it usually finds a way to surface. Whether it is a slight nudge in the corner, a refusal to give space, or a moment where one driver decides to send a message. For Suarez and Chastain, the stakes are clear. This is no longer just about points or position. It is about respect. Suarez enters the weekend carrying momentum in terms of attention. His comments have rallied fans. Some see him as standing up for himself. Others see him as escalating a situation that could have cooled off. Either way, he has put himself at the center of the conversation. Chastain, on the other hand, is used to this role. He has been in the middle of multiple controversies over the past few seasons. He understands how to race under that spotlight, and more importantly, he does not let it change his approach. That combination creates a dangerous dynamic. One driver feels wronged and wants to respond. The other refuses to adjust. That is how rivalries turn into defining moments. There is also a broader layer to this story that cannot be ignored. Michael McDowell recently spoke about Daniel Suarez's impact with Inspire Motorsports, highlighting the intensity and energy he brings to the team. That perspective adds context to everything happening now. Suarez is not just reacting emotionally. He is deeply invested in proving himself, in showing leadership, in establishing a presence within his new environment. When a driver is in that mindset, conflicts are not taken lightly. They become part of a larger narrative about identity and respect. And that makes every decision on track even more significant. The garage is watching closely. Other drivers are paying attention, because situations like this often ripple outward. They influence how others race around these two. They shape how aggressive or cautious competitors choose to be when sharing the track with them. It also affects opportunities. When a seat becomes unstable due to conflict or performance issues, other drivers take notice. In a series where margins are tight and opportunities are limited, every shift in the dynamic matters. For now, though, all focus is on Darlington. Will this stay a war of words, or will it spill back onto the track? That is the question everyone is asking, because NASCAR has always thrived on rivalries. From the earliest days of the sport, competition has never been purely mechanical. It has always been personal. Drivers pushing each other beyond limits, testing boundaries, building stories that fans follow long after the checkered flag. Suarez versus Chastain has all the ingredients of one of those stories: history between teammates, a public confrontation, sharp words in the media, and a high-pressure track waiting as the next stage.